What's up everyone, back for another vlog, and in today's vlog, I'll be showing you the Shelfie beers that I'll be reviewing for the month of September 2024. So if you're unfamiliar with what Shelfie beer reviews are, they are reviews of beers that I can easily grab off the shelves here in the Western New York area, and more specifically Buffalo, New York. And I try to get a good mix of beers from some of the bigger regional, national, and international breweries, and I post Shelfie beer reviews every single Tuesday and Friday of each month. And in the month of September, there are 8 Tuesdays and Fridays. Therefore, there are 8 beers here in front of me, and they are in order of how I'm going to post them over the course of the month from your left to right. This is the first and this is the last. Now, before we go over these real quick, I want to talk a little bit about Shelfie beer reviews for the rest of the year. So next month, which is October, and in December, there will be no Shelfie beer reviews, and the reason for that is I have other themed things planned like most years. So in October, I do the 10 Days of Pumpkin, and that is, I think, been going for, I think this is gonna be the 7th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin. And it's pretty simple when it comes to 10 Days of Pumpkin. For the final 10 days of October, I review a pumpkin beer every single day, culminating on October 31st, which is Halloween. And in December, I replace Shelfie beer reviews with holiday-themed beer reviews. And it's kind of the same thing. I post a couple times a week, although you have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day, although New Year's Day is in January. So for those 2 months, no Shelfie beer reviews, because if I were to do Shelfie beer reviews in addition to those 2 like themed events, I'd be reviewing like 20 of the 31 days in October would be, kind of a theme, and I want to leave myself some leeway. So in October and December, no Shelfie beer reviews. Shelfie beer reviews will return in November, and then you'll see them again in January. So let's go over these real quick. So the first beer that I have for this month comes from Jack's Abbey once again, and it is their Coffee House. So this is a Helles lager with coffee, comes in at 5.2% alcohol by volume. And this one, unfortunately, is a bit older. It's just over 6 months old right now. And when I review it, which will be tomorrow or the next day, it's still going to be just over 6 months old. But this one was canned towards the end of February, which is unfortunate because this is an exclusive with Wegmans, and I'm pretty sure it's only sold at Wegmans grocery store. So Wegmans grocery stores, very popular grocery store change. It's not a change. It's a chain in like basically the northeastern part of the U.S. down into like, it's basically like there's some, I think, in the New England region. There's a bunch in the Mid-Atlantic. They're starting to get down into the South a little bit. I think they've made their way into the Carolinas. But anyway, this one is a Helles lager. It's brewed with Wegmans Donut Shop coffee blend. And I've seen some reviews on this one. This one came out again earlier this year. I buy singles of pretty much everything I review on the channel for the most part. Couldn't find a single of this at any Wegmans. Finally found one. Unfortunately, it's over 6 months old. So hopefully the coffee has held up. But at the end of the day, that's what Shelfie beer reviews are. Sometimes you don't get the freshest thing, but I wanted to try this one, so I finally gave it a go. Day 2, or the second day. It's not going to be day 2 because it's not in a row, but you know what I mean. We have a beer from Sierra Nevada, another one in their Little Thing series, and this is their Cool Little Thing IPA. So they're calling this one a Cryo Fresh Hazy IPA. It comes in at 7.5% alcohol by volume, and this one will be about just under 7 weeks old when I review it, so not super fresh, but fresh enough. This is their limited hazy series, their Little Thing series, or I guess, are they all called Little Thing? I think so. They're all called Little Thing. I've reviewed a handful on the channel. This one's using cryo hops. I think they're using Cryo Fresh Mosaic and then some other cryo blends as well. I'm looking forward to it. The Little Thing series, pretty good, especially for like a Shelfie hazy series. I think it's pretty damn good. So that will be number 2. Number 3 comes from 6 Point. It is the Crisp. So they just call it a Pils. I think this is a German style Pilsner. For the most part, they're using German hops. German malts. Anyway, this one comes in at 5.4% alcohol by volume, and it's weird because like the label's a little bit different. I guess on that side it says the gives a little bit of information. This one has the ABV, but whatever. This one has a best by date of November 10th of 2024, so over a couple months before that date, so we should be good. I've had this one had to be like 8 to 10 years ago. Haven't seen it in a while as a single, so I grabbed one. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Next, we have a beer from Weyerbacher, or maybe it's a Weyerbacher, or maybe it's W.E. Yerbacher. Shout out to Matt over at Massive Beers. This is their quad. So this is a Belgian-style quadruple ale. Comes in at 11.8% alcohol by volume. And there is, you're not going to be able to see it on my shitty camera, but there was like some sort of date. It was smudged when I bought it, so hopefully it's relatively fresh. But yeah, this is just their classic quad. I've had this beer numerous times before, and the cool thing about Weyerbacher is they are finally, once again, in the West New York area. We haven't seen them in like 4 or 5 years, and I think like a half dozen of their beers showed up. I picked up 4 of them, and I thought I would throw one in as a Shelfie beer review because they are a Shelfie brewery, and they had been for a long time, so I can't wait to kind of put the focus back on them. I just reviewed recently their Merry Monks, which is their Belgian-style tripel, and that was a beautiful Belgian-style tripel. I really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping that this one is just as good. But as far as a quad goes, I like darker Belgian beers, so I'm hoping this is quite delicious. I remember it being pretty tasty, so we will see. Next, we have another one from Smutty Nose, and this is their Old Brown Dog Ale. So this is American Brown Ale. 6.5% alcohol by volume, and it has a best by date of November 3rd of 2024, so a couple months away. And it's been a while since I have had this beer. Again, I am not a huge American Brown Ale fan, but the last couple I've had, I've enjoyed. So I'm hoping that I enjoy this one more than I used to, because this one I always found was just okay. But again, it was more of a stylistically speaking, it was good, but it was more of a style issue for me personally. So I wanted to pick this one up. I've reviewed a lot of the classic Smutty Nose beers. I just reviewed their Finest Kind. I've reviewed their Robust Porter. I've actually reviewed the bigger version of this, their Old Ale, which is their really old Brown Dog Ale. And I love that beer. So I'm hoping this one's quite tasty. Next, we have a beer from UFO Beer, which they're under the Harpoon umbrella, and this is their Maine Blueberry. So this is a Hefeweizen that is brewed with a real Maine blueberries, 4.8% alcohol by volume. And I picked this one up also because it's relatively fresh. Right now as we speak, it's just under 6 weeks old by the time I review, a couple months old, and that's pretty fresh for a beer like this, if I'm being honest with you, because a lot of these beers, like, you know, the Harpoons and whatnot of the world, if it's a year-round or even a seasonal, sometimes it sits on the shelves. And I bought a lot of these in the Mix 6 location at a couple different Wegmans grocery stores, and you know, it's a crapshoot. I always have to check the dates because you never know. Like this, for example, this was in there. It was over 6 months old. Luckily, I wanted to really try it, and there's no other way to get it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But you know, this one's quite fresh. So it's been a while since I reviewed a UFO beer. I think the last one I did was their pumpkin beer a couple years back. So I thought I'd give that one a good. They call it a haze. Of course, you know, the hazy word, kind of like the old IPA acronym where it sells hazy blueberry wheat. Yeah, I guess. I mean, Hefeweizens are hazy, but it's just weird that they have to like specify that to make people want to buy it. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Next, we have from Victory, and this one sounds really, really interesting. I know that Matt over Massive Beers, the aforementioned Matt, reviewed this one recently. I did not watch the review, and I'm going to watch it after I review it myself. But this is from Victory. It's their pretzel beer. So they call this a toasted ale with sea salt, 7.5% alcohol by volume. And this is relatively fresh as well because it has a best by date of December 26th of 2024, many months away from that. So yeah, I love the label. It's kind of reminds me of like a, you know, this was going to be like one of their Oktoberfest beers, but it's not. I think they call this like, they're calling this just a generic like, yeah, traditional strong ale, but they're brewing it with salt. Yeah, we'll talk about it when I review it, but it sounds like a fun beer at the very least, even if it's not great. And last but not least, for September, we have another beer from New Holland in their Dragon's Milk Reserve Series, and this is the S'mores. So it's bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with chocolate, toasted marshmallow, and graham cracker, and of course, natural flavor, or natural flavors, plural. Comes in 11% alcohol by volume, and by the time I review this one, it's going to be about 4.5 to maybe a little bit over 4.5 months old. So it's funny, for a long time we got New Holland stuff here, like, you know, their year-round lineup, their seasonals, and then like Dragon's Milk and whatever variants. Now we pretty much just get Dragon's Milk, and that's it, along with a couple different variants of Dragon's Milk in their Reserve Series. It's kind of a bummer because I liked a lot of New Holland's regular beers, but I guess they didn't sell that well or whatever the case may be. So I wanted to pick this one up. It's been a while. I think it's been like a year since I've reviewed something within the series, and I saw it and I was like, I like S'mores. Dragons and Milk Reserve line can be hit or miss, but they're fun at the very least. So those are the 8 beers that I am reviewing for the month of September. As I always ask at the end of the vlog, which reviews are you looking forward to the most? I always, cop out and say, oh, everything. You know what? I'm going to start saying a top 3 in which I'm looking forward to the most. Number 1, the Jack's Abbey Coffee House Lager. I want to see how this works with a Helles, because most of like the lighter coffee beers I've had have been like coffee cream ales. So this is kind of in that vein, but I'm curious. And then also it's just over 6 months old. Did the coffee hold up? Did it turn to green pepper? Is it going to still be noticeable on the palate? I'm really looking forward to that. Number 2 would be the Victory beer, the pretzel beer. That just sounds absolutely just wonderful. But at the same time, I don't know, kind of skeptical to some degree. And then last but not least, it's going to be the Smutty Nose, because my palate has been changing. I've noticed over the past 2 or 3 years. I'm starting to like styles that I really didn't care for in the past. And a lot of styles that I've loved over the past 2 or 3 years, I'm starting to there've been more hit or miss for me, like certain beers like hazies and heavily fruited sours and pastry styles and stuff like that. It's just a lot of them are too sweet, just so too over the top. So I'm starting to go back to more traditional styles. This is an American brown ale, so I'm curious to see how that one works on my palate. So yeah, anyway, if you've had any of these beers before, post a comment section, let me know what you thought about them. And again, which reviews are you looking forward to the most? Like I said, these 3 are the ones that I'm really looking forward to checking out. So I can't wait to review these all. And then once again, I'll see you in a couple months for the November Shelfie beer reviews. Again, October, 10 Days of Pumpkin. If you're a pumpkin beer fan, again, this is the 7th annual 10 Days of Pumpkin. I have reviewed about 70 pumpkin beers on my channel to date, so we're going to be pushing 80-ish at this point, and that's a lot of pumpkin beers. That's a lot of pumpkin beers, but I'm going to do a vlog like this for the 10 Days of Pumpkin like I always do, and yeah, we're going to have a ball. We're going to have a blast. We're just going to enjoy life. So I appreciate everybody stopping by for another vlog, and until the next one, cheers.